Hello friends, it's Vio, and I was recently inspired by one of Paul's posts on the RuneScape community/Sabres forums where he made a video talking about memorable moments from his clan history. I figure I want to do sort of the same thing, but my clan history is a long one. It goes back over 10 years to 2006 and maybe a bit earlier, and there's a lot of stuff that happened, so be warned, it's going to be a long video. It might be completely boring, it might be somewhat interesting, I don't know. But here it is, my clan history from the very beginning to today. I started playing RuneScape in 2003 on an account known as Keanu. I only really got involved in the clan world in 2006, but in the 3 years before that, there was a thing called the Dragon Hunters. I usually leave it out when I write up clan histories because it wasn't really a clan so much as a group of friends who liked doing stuff together. We had a few duel tournaments, some raids of the bandit camp, we tried to PK a few times and didn't do very well at it. Nothing serious of course, just a bit of fun. The first real clan I got involved with was the Bissell Guardians, an 85 plus mid-sized clan in 2006. I did want to join, but I never got the 85 combat, but nonetheless I still went to a few PKing trips and some wars with them. The first RuneScape clan war I ever saw was AG vs Hope in August 2006. I didn't have the 250k needed for a full rune set, so I just walked up with them and watched and filmed the fight. AG had about 40 members and they got into a 5x5 box just south of the members gate. Shortly after, about 60 members of Hope in full rune death charged us and scared the hell out of me. I ran backwards thinking I was about to get one hit. You never forget your first war. While training for AG, I decided to join another clan whose requirements I met at the time. After a few failed attempts, I found the Red Blade Hunters, who I consider my first real clan. I applied, was accepted, and went on my first PK trip with a clan of my own on October 29th, 2006. I even got a kill. I made several clan videos for RBH, made myself a bit of a reputation, and had a lot of fun up until early 2007. Another great memory of mine from RBH was the Gothics PK. January 20th, 2007. While scouting for RBH, I find a level 106 called Greythawk's GP. I got into a fight with him, then lured him over to RBH, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I had PK'd full rune and full Gothics, which at the time was worth over 1.4 mil, and to a level 70 something who could barely afford a rune set was a lot. I shared all the normal rune out to RBH and planned to keep the Gothics as a memoir. Now even though I lost most of the set a few years later, I still have the original Gothics plate body still in my RuneScape 3 bank almost 10 years later. Sadly also in January, AG closed their doors, and after a conversation with a former leader, I was inspired to start my own clan. On January 28th, I left RBH and founded Moratorium. Moratorium was the first real clan I led, and I have some great memories with them, including defeating Phoenix Elite, PureClip's clan, in a full-out steel war. Unfortunately, due to leadership issues, the clan suffered an exodus and closed in August 2007. It had lived for just 7 months. After Mora, I hopped around a few clans, including rejoining RBH, their allies Unknown Bounty Hunters, and even a remake of AG known as Avenged. But the clan that really stood out to me in 2007 was the Cutthroat Syndicate. I went to a few PK trips and wars with them, but I never actually got to join. Like AG, they closed their doors in October of 2007, before I could meet their requirements. However, on the day of closure, Leader Hunter22 gave me the rank of ending member anyway, just so I could say that I had once been a Cutthroat. It was a small gesture, but one I was honored to receive and will be forever grateful for. CXS is probably the clan I respect the most in my entire history of the clan world. After a failed attempt at restarting Moratorium, which ended with the removal of free trade in the wilderness in December, I rejoined RBH, pledging to the council that I would stay for at least a year. I spent all of 2008 in RBH and was also promoted to the ranks of event organizer and later High Council. Also in 2008, I finally achieved 93 combat on Key Cooler, which were the final requirements of the long-dead Bissell Guardians. I also met up with Ads322, a former Dragon Hunters leader. We did one final raid of the bandit camp and a bit of PKing. Unfortunately, some issues arose and my term as High Council in RBH was cut short. I resigned from the clan in January of 2009 and tried one final time to reopen Moratorium. It lasted a few months, but didn't really go anywhere. My next clan was the Sabres, RuneScape's oldest clan, who I was surprised to find had combat requirements that I met. I applied with success and spent a good few months with them, and it was fun overall. Even after I left the Sabres, I would attend 2 of their real-life meetings the following year. But I had a good reason to leave the Sabres. In early 2009, I discovered a clan known as the Wilderness Guardians. I was incredibly impressed at WG's strong approach to community, but rather than train Key Cooler to meet their 100 combat requirement and risk the clan dying in the process like AG and CXS had done, I decided to abandon Key Cooler and start a new account which I called DG Keanu. Within a year I had trained it up to 100 combat, and on October 16, 2009 I became a Wilderness Guardian. I spent the next 15 months with WG, including all of 2010, the longest I'd spent with the clan thus far. In that time, I bought a WG t-shirt, I went to RuneFest 2010 with WG, I met his lordship in person, and other influential figures like Stokenut and ModMMG. I was even given the generic rank of historian for my work on the clan's website and history. For me, 2010 had been my best year in the clan world so far. But my time in WG was far from perfect, and in early 2011, after some issues, the staff and I agreed it was best that I leave the clan for a while. However, the wilderness was coming back to RuneScape and I felt like leading again, so I decided to start a new clan, known as the Blade Keepers. For a clan that opened in 2011, TBK was surprisingly successful, but we did end up in a rivalry with WG and encountered several more issues, including staff problems and an exodus. After just 4 months, TBK closed our doors in May 2011. I then moved on to a clan called Ascension. I had some fun times with ASE, including going to my longest ever war, Ascension vs Envy, for 2 hours. But my stunt with them only lasted 2 weeks, after which I was invited to rejoin WG for the second time. In June 2011, WG reopened their junior clan, the Descendant Guardians, and with a name change to DG Keanu, I was given the position of leader. Hi, I'm Kez, RuneScape name DG Keanu, and I'm the leader of the Descendant Guardians. DG lasted almost 2 years and was my most successful run in leadership to date. As one of the last surviving junior clans, we made quite a reputation for ourselves, thanks to our frequent PK trips, anti-crash events, and we even took on established main clans in battle. I also went to RuneFest 2011 and got my first ever level 99, which was Attack. This was a tribute to former AG leader Bollocks Poo, whose first 99 was also Attack, back in January 2007. The next year, I went to WG's 10th real-life meeting in the Peak District. 2012 was also the year his lordship and I collaborated to make The Wilderness an unauthorized biography. Then 2013 came, and with it old school RuneScape. We no longer needed a junior clan, so we phased out DG, I changed my name to VO Amethyst, and became WG's warlord. We experienced major success at the beginning of old school, and leading the clan as warlord was one of the most amazing and intense experiences of my career. One of the highlights was a fight against Reign of Terror, the reigning pay-to-play clan, in May. Despite losing the fight, leading Wilderness Guardians against Rot was unforgettable. Over the next few months, our success calmed down a bit and I stepped down as Warlord and took the rank of Forum Technician, but my interest in RuneScape was starting to diminish and eventually I resigned from the clan in November 2013. The next couple of years were a bit of a blur. I spent the holidays away from RuneScape, but rejoined WG in February 2014. However, they were still heavily RS3 focused, and nothing special happened for me that year. I resigned again in November. Another winter away from RuneScape, but in February 2015 I came back to join the recently reopened Red Blade Hunters, my first clan. And it was cool to see my old clanmates again, but it wasn't to last, as the magic was gone for me. Eventually I posted my resignation on April 9th, 2015, and finally quit RuneScape. But you never really quit. After 8 months away, I came back to old school as Amethystia, and applied for the 4th time for the Wilderness Guardians. I didn't know how long I was going to last, but almost a full year later and I'm still here, and it's been fun. I got a split of an Elysian Sigil from Corp, I almost lost an AGS to Rot and got featured on SparkMac because of it, and for the first time in years, I'm actually enjoying this game. And that brings us to today. I don't know how long this time will last, or what the future will bring, but one thing is for certain, I'm glad that I'm still here, still loading up old school every day, still having fun, and making memories that maybe in a few years will require me to make a part 2 of this video. And it's all thanks to the clans. Like the old school community today, the modern clan world gets a lot of hate, and maybe our best days are behind us, but I hope that's not the case, because it's because of clans like AG, CXS, and WG, people like Hunter22, His Lordship, and the hundreds of clanmates and friends I've made over the eras that make this game worth playing after all this time. It's been an amazing 10 years in the clan world so far, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next 10.